Welcome back everybody to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or Dinero Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another video as we continue our journey through Lies and Deceit, 5 films from Claude Chabrol, the box set that we've been covering this week from Arrow Video, as we look at the third film in the set, Madame Bovary, with the legendary Isabelle Huppert. This is the third film in the set, so we're kind of getting to the tail end here of the box set. Last week we looked at the sequel to Cop Alvin, Inspector Lavardin, and today we're going to be looking at this film that adapts the novel by the same name from the 18th century. Of course, I'd like to remind you all, if you haven't, please subscribe to this channel and go ahead and turn on that notification bell when you subscribe, so you go ahead and receive notifications every time that video goes live or I go live on YouTube. It really does help me out a lot. And if you enjoy content like this about physical media, make sure that you leave a like on this video. And if you want to go ahead and give an extra helping hand, go over to my Patreon at patreon.com/DineroChicano and check out some tiers for some early access to videos just like this one and exclusives like video essays. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get into the review. Last week we looked at Inspector Lavardin, and today we're going to be looking at Madame Bovary. And let's go ahead and start off by reading the back of this release, and then I will show you all the packaging and whatnot. A woman confronting men is a proper subject. It is inexhaustible. Claude Chabrol. Iconic actress Isabelle Huppert is the definitive Madame Bovary in Chabrol's adaptation of the classic novel by Gustave Flaubert. Emma Bovary is an attractive but dissatisfied young woman living a banal and empty life in 1850s Normandy. Filled with romantic fantasies, she craves beauty, wealth, and passion. But the disparity between her romantic ideals and the reality of her mundane existence and marriage to an unexciting country doctor leads her to adulterous affairs, deaths, and eventually death. Faithful to the style and the content of Flaubert's classic novel, Chabrol avoids nostalgia and staidness to present an anti-heroine who is as truthful and relevant today as she ever was. While Huppert's fearless portrayal would further expand her reputation worldwide, Arrow Video is proud to present to you all Madame Bovary in a glaring new 4K restoration. The special edition contents are as follows: a high-definition Blu-ray 1080p presentation of a new 4K restoration, original lossless French PCM mono audio, optional English subtitles, brand new commentary by film critic Carl Ellinger, Imagining Emma, Madame Bovary on screen, a brand new visual essay by film historian Pamela Hutchinson, archive introduction by film scholar Joël Magny, select scene commentaries by Claude Chabrol, theatrical trailer, and an image gallery. So this is the front of the packaging. This is the back. This is the spine. You're probably not be able to see that, but it's worth a try. And then you open it up and you have your Blu-ray disc right here. Pretty standard. Looks kind of like the rest of the rest of the ones that we've had in this set, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and get to talking about this film. I'd like to get the positives right out of the way for this film. I really did like the cinematography. I thought that Claude Chabrol had a way of figuring out what his locale was, what the scenery was going to be, and he used that to his advantage in the mise-en-scène of the film. And I loved the shot choices and the lighting choices, and it made for a really interesting frame to look at within the film. On the other hand as well, Isabelle Huppert is fantastic. She's incredible in this role, and she really does lose herself within the role of Madame Bovary. Yet even with a stellar photography, performance from one of the greatest actresses of all time, and just an overall great atmosphere to the film that was able to come through with the direction of Claude Chabrol. I found myself finding it a job to get through this film. I mean, the story really didn't grasp me. I felt like it was just something I've seen before. I've seen the tale of the woman who lives a very sedimentary life, and she's looking for something more exciting, and she kind of exhausts her debts to the point where she has to find a way to pay them or suffer the consequences of it. And I found that just to be a very uninteresting story, and the script is ultimately the most lacking aspect of this film, because you just don't have enough for me to grasp onto. And I've never read the book before, but I'm gonna guess that Chabrol kind of gave us a very true adaptation of Madame Bovary. But I just ultimately found myself uninterested in the film, and its pacing really did drag along too much, to the point where by the time the ending happened and you see Madame Bovary's death, I just was so dissatisfied, and ultimately I found the film to just be fine, and that's okay. It's the other two have been better, and I'm not like terribly disappointed, but I wish the story justified its long runtime and slow pace. And if I was going to go ahead and spend all this time on this film, I wish that the story would have grasped me in a way that I would have been interested in what was going down within the film's contents. But there all can be winners, and there's always aspects to the film that make them good. Madame Bovary definitely has some of those aspects. Now, let's talk about the restoration. So I watched this on my Panasonic 4K player on a TCL 4K TV, and of course this is a 4K restoration, so I'm going to get some of that upscaling on the visual presentation of this film on my TV. So I was pleasantly in love with this presentation of the film. This is possibly, for now, as I'm going through this set, the best restoration on this set from Arrow Video. I loved the work that MK2 put into this restoration, and being able to bring out such a beautiful dynamic range of colors, and I was just in love with that presentation. I loved how the colors popped on the screen, and the resolution really helped highlight those colors in this film, and that's ultimately what you're gonna get from a 4K digital restoration. And I think that MK2 just did an amazing job at being able to bring out the wide range of beauty in those colors, whereas like in the last two restorations, they've done a good job, but they don't do the work that they would get out of a 4K restoration like in this film. The audio track is fantastic as well. There's no complaints at all. You get a little bit of an increase in quality with having that lossless PCM audio track, and I found it to be really good. I really don't have any complaints about that. Everything felt level. There was no scratching, there was no hissing, and everything pretty much matched what was happening on screen. So when it comes to like comparing both the video and audio, I think that they're both just as good. It's not an amazing soundtrack that you would get on something like a 5.1 or a 7.1, but for what you get in this edition from Arrow Video, I think that they did a great job in being able to provide just as good of an audio track complementary to the video track that is being given in this restoration. I might just go as far to say that this is my favorite restoration from the Arrow films that I own at the moment. I love Cinema Paradiso's restoration, but there's just something about this one right here that just provides such a beautiful landscape and look at France that ultimately makes for a pleasant and surprising viewing experience of this film. Of course, if you would like to keep up to date with me on all things social media, make sure you follow me at The Nerd Chicano on everything: Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it is, like Letterboxd and Serialized. I'm the same thing on all of them, The Nerd Chicano. Make sure you keep up to date with the Nerdcore by checking out thenerdcore.com. YouTube and Twitch is also the Nerdcore. We're the same name on all of those. And of course, Next week, we're going to look at Betty as we look at the fourth film in this set. But to my renowned cinephiles and scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all in the next one, guys. Bye.